I know it makes you sad because you want to play with that little girl. And listen to me, okay? Don't cry. Don't let her see you cry. Sometimes people are different and they're not used to seeing people that are different, okay? And she's not used to seeing people the same color as us, okay? And her mom said that. But there are a lot of people that are going to play with you regardless. Look at all the people at church that love you. Look at all the people at school that love you. You're going to make some more friends, okay? I know that made you very sad. Did that make you sad too? It didn't make you sad? It didn't bother you? Maybe there'll be a few more kids that come, okay? And then you can find a friend. Did it make you sad that she didn't want to play with you? Yeah, I'm sorry.
But my nigga, like, growing up being chopped and dark skin, oh my God, fam. Like, bro, like I've been rejected in the worst way.
We need to talk about this. First of all, I tagged the creator below. Please watch his video. It is so interesting to hear his perspective as a dark-skinned man and how colorism played a role in his life. I want to offer my perspective as a dark-skinned woman that grew up in Alaska, because when I tell you it did a number on me, have a seat, babes. Let's talk. I grew up in Alaska up until the age of 18. Up until middle school, I really don't remember thinking being dark-skinned was bad. Like, in my family, we didn't joke about, oh, you're dark-skinned, this is bad. And it was really when I got to 7th grade when the shit went downhill. At the time, we had some Sudanese people that moved to Alaska, and there was this tall Sudanese girl, so beautiful, so sweet, skin glistening, okay? She was in my gym class, and she walked in, and the way people were looking at her, they just looked at her with disgust because she was a dark-skinned girl, and they were talking so badly about her, and then people started to turn to me and be like, oh, well, I'm just kind of dark too, and would clown me over and over and over again. And that's when I got my first glimpse of being dark skinned was a bad thing. From there, it was just constant bullying. They threw on the African booty scratcher for a little razzle-dazzle, and they were having the time of their lives. It made me shrink myself. Like, I didn't call a lot of attention to myself. I chose my words very wisely. I wanted to make sure I didn't set anyone off, because that was going to be the first thing that they would clown me on, was me being dark skinned. Like, in middle school, high school, there were instances where, like, when I saw we were going to watch a movie and they had to turn off the lights, oh my gosh, bro, the anxiety would kick in. Like, there would be points where, like, I knew the joke was coming, so I would try to get ahead of the joke and just say the joke, so it's like, well, I beat you to it. I'm not a person who likes to go back and forth with people, so when people would say crazy things to me, like, you know, I was always told, like, you know, just ignore people, so that's what I would do. But there would be certain points where I would literally go off on someone. I remember there was this one guy who was a football player, and we were kind of like semi-cool or whatever, and so I would help him with his homework. One time I was on the phone, I see him down the hall and he's calling me, but he's not calling me by my name. He's calling me black ass. Hey, black ass. Hey, black ass. And I'm just like, I'm so confused because you have never talked to me in this way before, but now you are. So I said, oh, I got your black ass for you. We got to class. He was calling me, trying to talk to me. And I was like, no, like, because he wanted the answers to the test. And I'm like, I'm not giving you the answers. Figure it out, nigga. I remember one day in French class, we were pairing objects with colors, and we got to the color black, and this girl goes, I know, and says my name. And it's like, well, wait a minute, now why am I in it? I'm gonna be real, it wasn't white people that were telling me this. It was other black people and people of color that were clowning me. And that's the thing that really fucked me up, because I was just like, you know, I expect that shit from white people. You know what I'm saying? I expect it. But from my own people, I could not compute why I was getting so much hate from people, especially men that were as dark as me or darker. It wasn't computing. The people of color got their cosign from their black friends. And so they were like, if this black man can say it, I can say it too. And they didn't get checked. And as I've gotten older, obviously I know the reason why the black men were going in on me and other dark-skinned people. It's internalized racism at the end of the day. A lot of them were mixed. Their dad was black. Their dad wasn't in their life. They were told all these crazy narratives about black people, and I was unfortunately just in the way of that. And so they hated themselves. I know too many people who now, you know, they're Trumpers. They have married white women, and they're very like, don't mention my black side, you know, type shit. So not surprising. They would constantly say dark-skinned people are ugly. Like, oh my gosh, like, all of those things. At that age, you start to internalize that and you start to think like, damn, am I really ugly? You know, am I ugly because I'm dark skinned? And then in high school, I don't know if you guys remember like the hashtag team light skin, team dark skin, and the crazy outrageous things people would say on Twitter that under the radar in high school. Even when I got to college, when I went to school in Washington State, it was a little bit of the same narrative. The fine men all mainly wanted light-skinned girls, mixed girls, or you were anything other than black, they was on you like white on rice. You feel like you were just undesirable. So I'm like, okay, well, nobody wants me. Like, that's cool. Like, what really changed for me was when I moved to North Carolina. Because when I moved to North Carolina, it was a 180, babes. It was a 180. The niggas would not leave me alone. Majority of my life, I have been told I am ugly, you're not desirable, all of those things. I moved to North Carolina and they're like, okay, dark skin, oh, you're so beautiful, okay, skin, this and that. And for me, the two ideas were conflicting. When people actually try to approach you and they're like, oh, you're so beautiful, you're all of that. Like, I'm kind of side-eyeing them because I'm like, you looking at me and you saying I'm cute? You know, I didn't grow up in that. So then when I go back home, it's so weird because the men that used to clown on me and say all these types of things are like, oh, my Nubian queen, my princess, my dark-skinned baddie. And I'm just like, I forget what the fuck you said in high school, my nigga. I've worked through a lot of those negative thoughts about myself of being dark-skinned. And like, now you can't tell me shit. You can't tell me shit. And it's ugly and this and that. I think, you know, primarily it has helped that, you know, moving to North Carolina, you know, I can get niggas on me. But it also has helped that, you know, I've done therapy. I've tried to do like the self-love thing. I've also taken the initiative of like talking to my nieces and nephews and telling them like how beautiful their skin is and that they are beautiful black children. And then making sure that they know that nobody can tell them shit. When they walk into a room, they should never feel ashamed about their skin. And I wanna make sure that they know that. Unfortunately, I do see a lot of this like, you know, anti-dark skin women rhetoric still today. It's not as much as, you know, 10 plus years ago, but it's still there. You know, I know my experience is not unique, but I'm always interested to hear about people's perspectives on, you know, growing up dark skinned in this country.
Yes, of course, you're going to be rejected because you're black. This is really, really serious. You're going to be rejected because you're black. This is really, really it's a very bitter pill to swallow, to be honest. But I'd actually want you to see these experiences while you also share yours in the comments, right? I will be back with the commentaries. I'll see you on it. Kindly subscribe.
You're being insultive, and I think that's unfair.
Same rules is for everybody.
I didn't do nothing to you.
There is a sign somewhere.
My volume, you said.
You put the volume down.
You said my volume was loud. I said I'm sorry. Brought it down,
Yeah, but
and you
then
start talking
need to
about
put
you
it down.
people.
It doesn't.
Why should I turn off? Why should I turn off my phone for you?
It's not enough if you say.
It's
I'm sorry.
rude. It's
you
rude.
don't
No.
put it down.
It's rude if you talk to
Yes,
me and be
yes,
like,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
you people.
Yes,
That's
yes,
rude.
Yes.
Don't do that to me. I don't know
do that to
you.
me. Don't you do that to me?
I don't know you there.
I don't know you.
That's rude.
It doesn't. That's not the question. The question is the rules is for everybody.
My volume wasn't even
Same
loud.
rules for everybody.
I don't gotta turn off my phone for you. I'm sorry, did you hear
No,
anything from my phone?
you don't need to close your phone, but put the volume down. That's the
You don't
only
shit
question.
being racist right now.
Every
You
time the same
people.
thing. If you say something, it's for hours.
Are you
Can you
okay?
stop it?
Did somebody hurt you?
Can you stop it? Yeah, you people do that.
Who is
every
you
day.
people?
Every day I need to say the same thing.
Lady, if you have a problem with my skin, you can use the next
No,
stop.
I don't have a problem.
Then stop treating me like I'm not a person.
Quiet.
No, I will not be quiet.
I mean,
You're not
listen.
gonna bully me into silence, ma'am.
No,
I have rights to be here.
Can you listen to me?
No, I won't. You listen. You've been very
Put your
rude.
finger
You
down.
have to stop it.
What did black people do to be hated so bad and so much? Like, I'm talking beyond slavery. Like, I'm, you know, today still. We was just watching the Hurricane Katrina documentary on Hulu, and I'm like, bruh, like, the folks literally lost everything, and then they came in treating them like they was criminals, and like, and then I was like, and then there was the one scene where they was saying how if they seen them, they was just shooting them, and the old white guy with the beard was like, yeah, man, it was like open season and some, and then the dude was like, well, how many do y'all think? It doesn't matter. Who really cares? I'm like, bro, like, we really done been through some stuff. And then I was telling my wife, I'm like, them same people in them documentaries, like, they still alive. It was only 20 years ago. Like, some of these people are still alive. We got no clue who they are, but that same energy, that same mindset, it still lives amongst us. And what bothers me the most is, like, everybody done always hated us, and then we help them out by hating ourselves. Like, we can't come together and work together. So we kind of, you know what I'm saying? It's just, I don't know, bro. It bothers me.
Destiny, you're part white. I'm black before anything. I'm black before anything, and let me tell you why. Because when Charlie Kirk died, my family told me to my face, he was just killed because he just expressed some of the things that he believed in. They told me that I agreed with some of the things that he said and some things I didn't, you know? It's not a big deal. They called his hatred and racism just differences of belief. They said that his ideology should be allowed to be spread because it's freedom of speech, and nobody should be harmed for expressing the things that they believe in. I try to ask questions like, well, what about pedophiles? And what about slave owners? What about Nazis? Should the people that were oppressed by them also have not celebrated? And I received responses such as, well, at the end of the day, children shouldn't grow up without a father. So please spare me with the you're white too, because I'm black before anything. Because at the end of the day, when you are a mixed person and your family is predominantly white, if you do not recognize that the world sees you as black, then you will be unable to pinpoint when you are in danger. I have to be able to see for myself and my children when violence is being perpetuated against people who look like us, and understand that when I walk out into the world, they don't know that my mother is white. They see a black woman, and that's no different for my children. When they walk out of the house, they don't know that their grandmother is white. They see black children. And if I don't acknowledge that, and I don't see the danger that is potentially there for people who look like me, then we are going to get harmed, and there is going to be nothing that I can do to stop it. So stop telling mixed people this, because we are black before anything. When we walk out of our house, that is what the world sees. There is no racist person in this world that is going to look at me and say, you're white, but you're white. No, they don't see a white woman. They see a black woman, and that's exactly what I am.
My very first boyfriend, he was from Mexico. We would talk on the phone and stuff like that, and his mother knew me. He didn't tell his mother that I was black. She asked what my name was. Oh, her name is Chloe. Oh, she has such a pretty name. I can't wait to meet her. And she just, the look, I will never forget that look. Like, I went to the bathroom and I started crying because I was like, she hates me. That following week, Christian said he couldn't talk to me anymore. And I was just like, why? I just don't like you anymore. And I was just like, okay. As we grew up and I changed school districts, I found out that it was the same thing, like everywhere, you know?
There's a phrase that we use. It is very common in Latin American countries. The phrase is mejorar la raza. Okay, mejorar la raza means improve the race. The way for us in Latin American countries to improve the race is by whitening it. When he brought this black woman with bad hair, you are not improving. You're worsening. You're degrading. You're downgrading our race. You're disrespecting our race because we're supposed to lighten it. If you get with a white woman, preferably, chances are that our next generation is not going to be as dark. It's going to be lighter. Hopefully, blue, green eyes. Oh my God. And the more that we get with each generation with lighter skinned people, the more we improve the race. That is so common in every single Latin American country. In every Spanish speaking country, mejorar la raza, it is a thing. Like the Nigerian in the video who said he wants a white woman because he wants white kids. You see, a lot of white women today, they feel so attractive because of all the attention they get from brown and black men. But what they don't realize is that when we as brown and black men in this particular case, we suffer from internalized racism. We hate our skin. A person who hates themselves, who hates their reflection, can't love somebody else. So don't feel so beautiful when a brown and black man is looking at you and is desiring you, because like the Nigerian guy said, when I asked him, why do you want a white woman? Because I want white kids. You see, he didn't mention anything about a woman's attributes, no passion, no nothing. His reason for wanting a white woman was, I want to eradicate my own race. You are only worth your womb for me to plant my seed so that my child could come out hopefully light skin, meaning not ugly like this. You cannot think that you're being loved by somebody who suffers from self-hate.
I now feel for the black community because I know what it feels like to be racially profiled. I didn't know it before, and I thought it was a little bit of a reach, but now I totally get it. That's what a man came out on here and said, and this is why we should believe victims. This is why we should believe people's stories. This is why we should have empathy, and this is why we should be able to put ourselves in other people's shoes. Because you thought it was a reach. That's what he said. He thought it was a reach when the black community said that they were being racially profiled and they were getting stopped for no reason, and like it probably wasn't that serious. But now that Latinos are getting racially profiled, now he gets it. This is why empathy is so important, because you never know when the tables turn. And no, it shouldn't be transactional. It really shouldn't. You should believe people, because you should think. You should be able to think outside yourself and be like, if that was me, I would hate that. I don't have to be black to realize that that freaking sucks. That what they go through, what they've experienced, sounds painful. That I can't even imagine the years of frustration and honestly, just freaking frustration and anger that they must feel. But guess what? Now Latinos get it. Now. And that is why we are in the situation that we are, because people don't feel for others until it happens to them.
I really didn't want to elaborate any more on this subject, but today I got this comment on a post that I made that discussed how 355,000 black women are now unemployed. The number is probably higher as of date. I don't like talking about this subject because I am one of those 355,000 black women, and it's very hurtful and very frustrating, especially when you have the experience and the education to back it up. I'm trying to figure out why she feels that it goes both ways, because I don't feel that you have any of the same experiences that I have had as far as dealing with white women. I have had white managers lie on my evaluations purposefully so I would not get promoted, so that I would not be able to get a raise. I was terminated unjustly one time before because of two white women. White women have always had their foot on my neck in my career. When it comes to interviewing for the type of job that I have, it's always white. It's always a white woman. Oh, I can't get a male, a white man, an Asian man, a black woman to save my life when it comes to the type of job that I do. So I don't think that you have that kind of experience that I have. More recently, I interviewed for a job. I was told at the end of the interview, because I specifically asked the question, it was two white women that interviewed me. I specifically asked, will you let the candidates know, and when will you be making your decision? So one of them goes, oh, within 3 days to a week. Well, it was 3 weeks later and I still hadn't heard anything. So I reached out to the recruiter twice. Finally, the recruiter calls me back and she apologizes profusely. And she says, I'm sorry, I got another role and I dropped the ball. Now, when you're trying to find a job and you're trying to pay your bills and you've been out of work for a minute, no one really wants to hear about you getting another role. But I sat there and I listened. And then the feedback that she gave, she's like, oh yeah, the team is going to move on. They didn't hire you because they said because of technical reasons, technology. Now, the interesting part about that is in the role that I was applying for, that I have done for years prior, the only technology that you need is inputting data into their system, looking at the report that you write and putting into the system. So at this point, there's no holds barred. I told the recruiter, I said, you know what? I can understand if you called and told me that there was another candidate that had more experience than I did, but don't gaslight me. Do not gaslight me. So I knew right then and there. I had an interview last week. Another white woman answered all the questions, put on my little smile face, but I knew going into that interview, I was even 10 minutes early for the interview. I knew she wasn't going to hire me. And I answered all of the questions, and I asked her the same question. Well, it wasn't even 24 hours, and I got a thank you, but no thank you. Now, the interesting thing is for both of these companies, I have been trying to get into those companies for 2 years. But when I marked white on the application, interesting enough, I got a email the same day that I applied for the position wanting to set up an interview. I don't think we share the same types of experiences. Not only that, your people had 400 year head start. And I know that people are like, why do you say things like that? What does that matter? It matters a lot because it's a cycle. And I don't think that you're thinking deep enough on how that cycle has affected the Black family. How much having that head start has affected the Black family when it comes to working. All we ask is for a fair shot at the table. I can see if I didn't have the degrees. I can see if I didn't have the qualifications, but I do. And all we ask for is a fair shot, an equal shot at the table. And instead of giving us that equal shot, before we even get our toe in the water, they look at this. That's what they look at. And while we're busy giving our best shot at the interview, they have already made up in their mind that they're not going to hire us and they're going to move on, and then they're going to give a bullshit excuse reason as to why. So no, it doesn't go both ways in a certain extent. Your experience as a white woman is different than my experience as a Black woman. And the only thing that we haven't, even down to sometimes parenting, we do not share the same experiences. The only thing that we have in common is that we are both women. And that's where the line is drawn. So please do not come back on, especially when I make talks that are very sensitive. Please don't come on there making comments saying how we are alike, because we are very different.
Yes, my crush said he couldn't date me because I was Black. Let me just tell you the story. So for context, I went to a private school in Northern Virginia. If you've ever been to one, you know what I'm talking about. It was literally modern day segregation. And I mean that literally, there was a common area for everyone to hang out, and they designated a corner of it that they called the Black corner. And all the Black people had to sit there. And if you left the Black corner, they'd tell you to go back to the Black corner. Okay. It was literally like that. That's not the point of this story though. Sophomore year, I had a lab partner. He was really cute. He had the dark brown hair. He was really indie. He was into Arctic Monkeys and Jack White and all that kind of stuff. We used to just talk the whole time in class about music and life and all this kind of stuff. And then after school, he hit me up. We're texting, talking about music, talking about our shared interests. We're laughing. We're having a good time. And people are starting to notice, in class, we're having a good time. People are like, okay, Cameron and Redacted? Even our chem teacher was like, you two should date. You have chemistry. And everyone's like, ooh. And I was like, I mean, we do. We literally do. So one day, we had just come off a good text conversation last night in class. That rapport was going. I'm feeling good. I'm like, okay, we've been doing this for some months now. Maybe we should try hanging out outside of school. And I'm a shot shooter, y'all. I'm gonna shoot my shot. So I'm like, I'm gonna ask him out. So after class, we're lingering a little bit. I'm like, okay, it's time to make my move. And I'm like, hey, we've been talking a lot. I'd really like to hang out outside of school. Why don't we go ice skating at this place that's like near the school? And he said, yeah, that sounds cool. So I'm like, period. Ah! But immediately after, he was like, I want to go, but I can't. Like, it's not allowed, you know? And I'm like, what? You're not allowed to date? Your mom said you can't go? Like, what? I asked him what he meant by that, and he lowered his voice, and he's like, I like you, but we can't go out. Like, I'd never hear the end of it from my friends. And he's like looking around kind of paranoid and said, like, you're different from me. Like, we're in 2 different groups, and I can't really cross over into your group, and you can't really cross over into my group. So it's just not going to work out. Then 2 of his friends walked by and saw us talking together, and they kind of like made this face that I obviously saw, right? And he's like, you know what? It's better actually if we don't talk in public just to be safe. And I'm like, what? But I'm just kind of standing there, right? Like, I'm in shock. Then he touched like one twist from my hair and was like, I wish it didn't have to be this way. You know, you're so pretty for a Black girl. And I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. Now, the way my self-esteem was set up as like a 15-year-old, this was like one of the most damaging events of my adolescence. Like, this is what kicked off my quest for whiteness, my self-hatred for being Black, like my thinking that I'm ugly. Like, literally, this is where it all started.
So I just had one of the most unpleasant experiences as a Black person. I see this house for sale in the neighborhood I was born and raised in while I was walking to my car. I look at it, and as I'm looking at it, the owner comes in. The house is empty, it's vacant. I asked him, hey, are you the owner of this property? He says, yeah. I was like, oh, what's the sale price? He looks at me and says, $17.99. And I'm like, okay, but what's the real sale price? And he just looked at me like blankly. Then another Black gentleman pulls up in his very nice car. He looks, middle-aged, well-groomed, looks very sophisticated. Asked me, hey, is this an open house? I was like, no, I'm just asking for the sale price. And he was like, did he give you the sales price? He was like, and I was like, no. So then he asked the owner from his car, was like, hey, what's the sale price? The owner looks at him blankly, just stares at him. So then now we look at each other like, okay, what's going on? So the gentleman asked him again, hey, what's the sale price? Like, we're in, is it an open house? The dude's just not answering. We look at each other, and at the same time, we both said, we know what it is. So it's kind of crazy, a dominantly Black neighborhood with people who are born and raised here trying to buy property here. Like, for all this dude know, I could just write a blank check and I'll purchase the house. And then we just walked away on some like, wow, this is crazy. This is genuinely crazy. They don't even want to sell to us, even if we have the money. Okay, that's how gentrification works. They don't want to sell to us in a neighborhood that's dominantly Black, even if we're born and raised here, even if we have the money. For all this dude know, I could be a multi-millionaire ready to sign the check right now. He wouldn't even entertain the conversation from 2 Black men, complete strangers, who were just asking for the sale price. Something that we could look up online, granted, but you're right there. You're the owner. Got it.
I'm telling you right now.
Well, I know that a lot.
I've gotten denied on apartments because they found out that I'm Black. Did you know that?
I believe it happens.
There was an apartment about 2 blocks over here from Laugh Factory. I was so excited about it. And the guy actually was ready to give me the apartment. And he was like, I'm so glad that you want this apartment because I had these Black people come look at the apartment and I didn't want, he's telling me all this stuff.
Ugly.
Yeah. Ugly. Telling me all this stuff. And I'm sitting there going, should I tell him? Do I want the apartment that bad?
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of Black folks in here. He has no idea. And then he starts talking about, he's a Lisa Lampanelli comedy fan, and which tells me everything. If you're
So I've officially been rejected by 67 modeling agencies.
All right, so everybody in the comments is super shocked that I was rejected by 67 agencies, as y'all should, because you know I look good. But I'm gonna explain why and paint a picture for you about how the modeling industry runs. So when I think of modeling, I like to separate it with editorial and print. Editorial is more of the high fashion look, and that's more in the New York industry where you see a lot of runway models and New York Fashion Week and stuff like that. Print is more of the trendy route, the Fashion Nova or Pretty Little Thing aesthetic. Because these are two different styles, a lot of the time the models look different with these two different styles. When it comes to white women, they'll pretty much accept a bunch of clones who look like this. And that goes for editorial and print. The standard for white women is not as high. You don't have to be exceedingly beautiful to be successful in any portion of the modeling industry. And keep in mind, what I just pointed out is racism in the modeling industry. When it comes to black women in the modeling industry, there's definitely a difference between how lighter skinned women and mixed or biracial women get treated compared to darker skinned women. But when the modeling industry wants to represent lighter skinned black women or mixed black women, they oftentimes choose the light skin or the mixed woman who has the loose curl pattern and the facial features that fit the European beauty standard. So she'll have the tight cheekbones and the small nose, the plump lips as well. But they don't ever choose light-skinned women or mixed women who have bigger noses or 4C hair. And this is a form of featureism and texturism. And it's sad because not all light-skinned women or mixed women or biracial women look like this. But that's all they pretty much show in the mainstream media. Now, when we talk about dark-skinned women in the modeling industry, there is a very limited number of dark-skinned women they will accept in both realms, editorial and print. Dark-skinned women who are oftentimes in the editorial portion of the modeling industry normally have a bald head and have a significantly deep skin tone. And while I am happy that dark-skinned women of deep tones are represented in the modeling industry, they forget that dark-skinned women come in many different shades. And the only shades that are being shown or represented is the darkest ones. It kind of paints this narrative that in order to be considered dark-skinned, you have to be the darkest shade out there, which is completely untrue. I've experienced this because many people in my life have told me that I don't look dark-skinned just because I'm not the deepest shade of dark. That was just for the editorial side. When it comes to print, the dark-skinned women they choose have one specific look, a black Barbie. They all look like a Barbie doll with dark skin. And once the modeling industry picks one or two dark-skinned Barbie dolls that they can use for the next 10 years, they pretty much ice out and isolate all other dark-skinned women in the modeling industry because they already have their two Barbie dolls who are famous and that's all they need. Meanwhile, they'll have a million white girls who look like this in the industry, but they only have space for one or two girls in their agency that look like this. And of course, because they look like black Barbie dolls, this fits into the European beauty standard. You'll rarely see dark-skinned women with bigger noses or features that don't fit the European beauty standard in the modeling industry. When we circle it back to me, there's obviously no denying that I'm a very beautiful girl. And I'm also pretty diverse when it comes to the type of modeling I do. I can do print stuff like this and definitely be representing trendy fashion. I'm definitely capable of that editorial look as well. Definitely, the modeling industry has already chose Ducky Thought, Leomi Anderson, and Adut to pretty much represent dark-skinned women for the next decade or so. And they're not really going to open other doors for other dark-skinned women to be heavily represented in the media. So it sucks. But it is what it is. But lucky for me, I'm more than just a pretty face and y'all follow me for what's in here anyways. I know they try to ban TikTok. I need you to go to the link in my bio and subscribe to my YouTube because I am starting a podcast. I told y'all that I'm not going to stop talking about these issues on my page until our community is healed. So I want to keep having discussions about colorism, texturism, and featureism in all different industries in the world. And we're going to highlight all that on this podcast. So please, link in my bio, subscribe. Love y'all.
I want you guys to picture this. A black woman immigrant who's a Marine veteran, a Christian conservative, standing on stage running for governor. And what's waved in her face? A racist sign held proudly by a supporter of her white liberal opponent. And instead of the outrage you would normally expect to see, you get crickets, just silence. Why is that? It's because the racism came from the approved side. It came from the Democrat side. That doesn't tell you everything you need to know about oppression, addiction, and Stockholm Syndrome politics. I don't know what will. Today, we're going to talk about the heated governor's race in the state of Virginia, and I've got so much to say about it. So let's get into this. Greetings and peace, you guys. Welcome back to Unshapeable with April Chapman, where we discuss all things social, cultural, political, and theological from a biblical perspective. I'm your host, April Chapman, and welcome to the show. I want to go ahead and talk about the heated governor's race up in the great Commonwealth of Virginia. And I kind of want to go through these candidates at a glance because they are completely different. And what I believe the outcome is going to be, I want Winsome Sears to win. But unfortunately, the Black community, due to their addiction to Democrats, will probably fumble the bag and miss out on an amazing opportunity to be led by a Black female who is wholly qualified, not on the basis of her ethnicity, but on merit. So let's look at these candidates at a glance. On one side, you have Winsome Sears. She's a Marine veteran. She is Jamaican born. She is an immigrant. She's a businesswoman. She has served as lieutenant governor for the state of Virginia, and she's unapologetically conservative. She's pro-life, pro-parental rights, pro-school choice, pro-women's sports, pro-Second Amendment, unapologetically pro-American. I don't really know what's not to like about her. And then let's look at her opponent, Abigail Spanberger. She is your cookie cutter, run-of-the-mill Democrat politician who pretends moderation, but she votes for the most radical of leftist policies. This woman has backed legislation that lets boys invade girls' sports and locker rooms. She's pushed climate extremism that raises costs on working families, and she parrots the same progressive line on abortion up until the 9th month rhetoric. One of these candidates represents freedom. The other one represents control and wickedness. So let's examine their records so we can just get an idea of who these candidates are. Spanberger has a very oppressive political record. On one thing, let's say, for example, family and faith, she has aligned with the Equality Act, which would effectively gut religious liberty protections, forcing Christian schools.
People to one day I went to work to take care of a woman at her place, and when she saw me, she said, "Yeah, I don't want a Black woman come to take care of me." I said, "Yeah, the bureau sent me here. If you don't want me to take care of you, you need the help. I don't need it. Then I'm going." She said, "Yeah, yes, I don't want to see you. Go out." So I went out. I called my office. I told them, this woman did not need help, so I will not come here anymore. I will go to the other person.
As a Black woman who got a late stage diagnosis of ADHD because I'm Black in healthcare, it has made me mourn who I could have been when I was younger if I had known that I had ADHD. And there's an aspect of ADHD that I don't think a lot of women, definitely not a lot of Black women in particular, talk about. And I think so many of us suffer from this and we have no idea. And it's called rejection sensitive dysphoria. I'm no therapist, psychiatrist, none of that. But in my ADHD diagnosis, my therapist let me know, like, hey, it sounds like you suffer from RSD. And when she gave me the characteristics, I was like, oh my God, RSD has been ruining my fucking life. It has caused me so many missed opportunities and failed friendships. So rejection sensitive dysphoria is extreme big feelings around perceived criticism or perceived rejection. Like, you don't have to actually be being criticized. You don't have to actually be being rejected, but your body feels like it, and it's like times 10. So as a child, you know, I've always, oh, you're too this, you're too much this, you're too much this. And that made it worse. You know what I'm saying? I have had a lot of success in my life, but had I had the tools that I needed to be able to work with rejection sensitive dysphoria, I feel like I would be a lot further in life. And I feel like there's a lot of women out there, in particular Black women, who have been labeled as having an attitude, always irritable, nasty, when really my sisters just have ADHD or just have anxiety or is experiencing rejection sensitive dysphoria. And it's not a lot of people out there talking about it. It's something fairly new. And I think about all of the friendships that I have kirked out in. I have lost my shit in because I thought that they were rejecting me. And so it made me lash out. It's not always, oh, I feel like I'm rejected, so I'm finna go somewhere and cry. Baby, rejection sensitive dysphoria will have you cussing people smooth out. I remember one time in college, one of my sorority sisters, we were on a cruise, and I'm in college, right? It's senior year. We're on a cruise, and I had lobster for the first time, and I was like, it's kind of chewy. And my line sister was like, you've never had lobster before? Bitch, a light switch. I cussed her smooth out because I perceived, and I now know that I perceived her as rejecting me as like, oh, you the poor little girl who ain't never had nothing. You don't know what lobster tastes like, so you think it's... My mind told me all this shit in a split second, and I kirked out on her. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like a lot of women experience RSD and don't know that they are. And so they may feel isolated. They may feel like people don't really want to deal with them, when really it is the rejection sensitive dysphoria. It can be you having an opportunity or you being invited out somewhere and you like, man, I don't really have nothing to wear. People gonna judge me. People gonna look at me. I can't go. And so you just don't go. It is so... I think of it as like a noxious gas that just permeates and works its way through everything. So these thoughts are happening and you have no idea how limiting it can make your life when you don't even realize it's happening. And the fact that I got a late stage diagnosis, it just makes me, I wish I could reach out to those old friends and line sisters and be like, I know I was a fucking mess and I do not blame you for peacing out and protecting your peace, but I just want you to know, like, I something was wrong and I didn't know. And because healthcare is fucked up as it is, and Black women are automatically seen as having an attitude, people just took it as, oh, that's just Gina. When really the whole time I was fucking suffering. So if you interact with a woman and it seems like, in particular a Black woman, if you're interacting with her and it seems like she has an attitude, take a moment, take a beat, because she really might just be mentally beating herself up and lashing out because of that as a measure of protection. Baby, RSD, the ADHD, baby, I like it sometimes. It's magical. You know what I'm saying? It's fun over here. But that RSD kicks ass.
I'm sorry, but my son will not be dating a Black girl. He will not. Because yesterday...
Ma'am, you're doing Black girls a favor. Because for you to be an adult woman comfortable calling little girls bitches and motherfuckers, I can't imagine what you're instilling in your boys. So I think you're doing Black girls a favor. I think they'll be absolutely okay not dating your sons. I'm absolutely sure. Especially when you are so limited in your mindset that you think that Black people are monolithic and you think that behavior is exclusive to Black girls. When people act like that in all places, in all spaces, and from all races. Girl, please.
I do want to take a moment to apologize for my statements in my video earlier about how my son wouldn't date a Black girl. I do want to apologize about that because I didn't realize that people just accept the behaviors of Black girls that I find impulsive, I find disgusting, and I find disturbing. So I do want to take a moment to apologize for that. If that is the behaviors that you guys accept, then that is the behavior that you guys accept. And I should not be judging people for what they believe in. You know, if you believe that that they were okay in that behavior, then that is okay, and that's what you accept. I mean, me personally, when I saw 4 girls trying to jump a white woman for her asking them not to say PUSSY and DICK in front of her kid, and you know, they're like 5 and 7-year-old girls, I personally feel like that was wrong. But again, you guys said that that's kids being kids, and that is fine. I've gotten a lot of backlash, and you know what? At the end of the day, if that's the way y'all are raising y'all kids and y'all feel like y'all kids can act that way, I am not one to judge. And again, my words, when I was saying it, I was very upset because of what I saw. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that my son wouldn't date a black girl. It's more or less like those type of black girls I would steer my son away from. And yes, I do give him guidance, and his dad does give him guidance to not put up with disrespect. You know what I mean? If a girl is going to be loud and disrespectful and fighting and a hooligan and all this other stuff, you don't deal with those type of girls, like, at all. So again, I think that the way that I viewed this younger generation, I guess I didn't have a clear understanding of it. But now that you guys have told me in multiple videos that I was wrong for calling them BITCHs and saying that they were, and was wrong for calling them HOEs for basically talking about penises and, you know, having sex and all this other stuff at 12 years old, I guess, you know, I just wasn't aware that that was okay in the community. You know what I mean? So I do apologize for that.
So it came to my attention that Africans are being mistreated in Lebanon, and some people.
So it seems this video is making rounds. I never expected this video to go quote unquote viral like it's doing. But honestly, it seems a lot of Africans already knew this, so that's great. But it seems there's a large enough number of Africans that they didn't know that this was going on in the Middle East. Guys, the sooner Africans, black Africans especially, understood the fact that we don't have any allies. This skin, black skin, is hated around the world. Why we are hated, me, I don't even know. But this black skin, there's like a vendetta against it globally. In North Africa, in South America, in North America, in Asia, in Middle East, in the islands. We don't have any allies. Just take that from me. See, as Africans, we have to stop treating all these people well in our continent, in our countries. Like, I'm always shocked when I see, you know, non-Africans, non-black Africans having the best time of their lives in our countries. We treat them like kings. We roll out the red carpet. They have the visas to visit any African country easily. But it's a one-sided thing. They don't treat us like that in their countries. They don't treat us like that in their countries. We don't have the access to travel to their countries. If I want, it's easier for a white man, a non-African, a non-black African to travel Africa than it is for me, an African, to travel across Africa. It's harder for me. It's easier for a non-African, a non-black African. If I want to travel to Asia now, if I want to travel to Europe now, if I want to go to the Americas, it is difficult. The screening process, the questions they will ask me, the monitoring they will ask me, the policing they will give me. But they can come to our continent free, willy-nilly. The immigration officer will treat them like kings. The person on the street will treat them like kings, but they are treating you like a slave in their continent. I like to share, in fact, moving forward, there's a reason why I changed my name to Mr. Kingsley Unfiltered, because I'm going to be sharing you all these videos so that you guys see that people treat us terribly. They don't treat us nice like you guys think. We have no friends. The African man has no friends. No friends. So the sooner we stop this fighting each other and come back, calm down, whether you are abroad, whether you are at home, find a way to collaborate and start building our continent. Give money, start businesses. And the first thing you need to do is you need to change your mindset. Stop looking at everything as foreign. Be proud of yourself. Love yourself. Understand that anybody that is funding war in your country, that person is they're going to just fly out to their country and leave you to die there. Stop it. Africa has no friends. In Arab, they will kill you. In America, they will kill you. In Europe, they will kill you. Easy. They don't want you there. Even though they need you, they don't want you there.
Being rejected as a black person can be very, very depressing. It comes with a whole lot. Let's be sincere. You know, right? It comes with so much. Imagine when you're a nice person. Imagine when you're good for the job. But all because you're black. Imagine when you are very handsome. Imagine when you're very beautiful. You are intelligent. You have all it takes, and you wanted that girl, but all because you're black, you're rejected. Oh my God, this could actually take a turn on an individual. I kid you not. When I watch those videos, come on. I'm like, is this what you people face? Is it what people go through in America and every other part of the world? Imagine, there was even this video I saw some time ago. Look for that video. This guy was actually taking care of this sick woman. He was a nurse in America, taking care of this sick woman very well. But do you know that as soon as her kids came and everybody, they rejected him and said they don't want a black person to take care of their grandma. He went into the car and he started crying. For me, it's very, very childish. Why would I cry? Come on, if you've gone through that, do not feel bad. See, even saying this alone, I am feeling bad because remember that video you just watched of that little boy on the playground or that little girl in the playground that wanted to play with that girl, but they said, get off, black. What? I was like, as a mother that I am, I'll fight. To be honest, I am going to fight. I don't have that patience to start even telling the child, don't worry, your friends are going to come. It's going to pain me. And do you know one thing? People like me would definitely and totally avoid spaces that have white people. Especially when it has got to do with my loved one, be my children, anybody. I will boycott them. Even if they have the best meal, I'm not eating. If they sell the best clothes, to hell with you. It's aura for aura. It's really, really serious. Come on. Let me hear your own thoughts or your own experiences in the comments, and then I'll come give you a hug. God, that's all I can do for now. You guys are going through a lot, man. Being rejected because, come on. Anyways, thanks for watching. Do not forget, it's me, Blessing on Global Just with BJ. I'll see you next time, next place, or I'll also see you on Unfiltered with BJ. That's my second channel. Thank you. Bye.